I woke up and I've been tagged a bunch. I've been tagged a bunch by people responding to this person, and thankfully everyone responding to this person is calling them out for being the retarded candy ass that they are. This person said, "Hi, not a pleasant tweet to make, but it has to be said. Please watch out who you follow. I've been/will be unfollowing moods following controversial creators like those anti-woke and Nazi VTubers, for example. I have no tolerance for intolerant heart emojis." And obviously it's pictures of me and Rev. I was like, you know, this follow policing aside, if they had been like, oh, those anti-woke VTubers, I'd have been like, all right, you're free to be the retard that you are, but you know, who cares? But they had to add Nazi in there. They had to add the Nazi. I was just like, I'm so tired of these fucking loons. Words should have meaning, and I have never said anything Nazi-esque. The only reason they say this is to continue signaling that I am an acceptable target for deplatforming, for financial ruination, and for violence. And it's obnoxious. You're just looking at this. Apparently she blocked you for your repost and unironically follows certain unsavory individuals. I'd be willing to bet a lot of people who end up saying that I'm a Nazi probably follow like Hassan Piker and do not see the irony in their statements. I directly DM people I know. Oh, just blocked both of them. Thanks for making the VTubing scene a safer place. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, Rev. That's great. Like I said, the lies get so out of control every time one of these posts happen. Some fucking retard here replied to another guy talking about calling people Nazis is not an argument. If you believe Kirsche or Rev advocate Nazi ideology, articulate how with specific statements or positions, otherwise this is guilt by association and rhetorical bullying with no or not moral clarity. And the retard said, Kirsche,
who?
Because they can't ever spell my name, has on multiple occasions admitted to racism by saying things such as, I just think you're gross if you're not white, and America should be a whites-only country, and other similar statements. There's a reason she often deletes her VODs, as they would get her banned. So first off, other than right now reading this lunatic's tweet, I have never said those things. Those are just things that have never come out of my mouth. Like, at least if they had said, she said, you're brown, I can smell it. Like, yeah, I said that. That was a joke. But that would have been real. And I think it's also funny that they say there's a reason she often deletes her VODs as they would get her banned. I think like in the last 5 years, I've maybe completely deleted like 3 VODs, maybe? Usually, Ziz has to take them down and edit them if somebody else in the video says a slur, like if we're watching something, or if there's copyright shit we have to remove. What the fuck is this shit sandwich? Yeah, it's like, do they think I only stream on Twitch and not 4 fucking platforms simultaneously? And that when I was a Twitch only streamer a bajillion years ago, like Azehara said, I uploaded my VODs on a separate YouTube channel. So all my old VODs are on a VOD channel. And all my new VODs just stay on YouTube because I stream there. Slurs in Klingon. The VODs have the secret nuclear launch codes sometimes. Yeah, like you have to delete that, man. You don't want the launch codes just in a VOD. Rev also got blocked by this person trying to lie about him. Because this is also the schizo after they lied about me. Said, in Rev's case, it's been publicly stated that LGTV people are insane and should be locked up. When asked about his opinion of the LGBTQ plus community, he asked for proof and then immediately got blocked. Because that's just what these people do. They just try to lie and create some weird sort of consensus about what you are. At this point, you're convinced they keep spouting nonsense in the hope that an AI picks it up as truth? I mean, the AI has repeated false information because there was so much of it. It's ridiculous, you know?
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
I think I have Craigathy here as well, tapping in saying, ah yes, the intolerance of the tolerant. You clearly have never spoken to either Kier or Rev and are only going off of what other broken people are saying. Get off the internet. And it's like, it wouldn't even matter if I tried replying, right? Because I've already shown how I've been misconstrued and taken out of context and everything in that Reddit thread. And yet that is what is linked as like universal proof that I am in fact a Nazi when I am not. It's just like nobody is going to stop the lying, and it's obnoxious. It was great hearing Straub and Rev laugh about this person on her stream this morning. I mean, yeah, that's all they are. They're like some laughable nobody who's trying to gain clout off of spreading lies and slander about people. Average CCB of 15 for 5 years.
No, 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 no.
I saw some people recently saying that I only started getting popular after I started spreading the great replacement theory, which first of all, no, I haven't. And second of all, they don't know how long I've been in the game, brother. The haters make Kirsche sound cooler than she really is. Unironically, Carson Rotham, thank you. Thankfully, people have stopped pushing the same narrative about Pippa for the most part. You haven't seen Pippa's Reddit derangement thread in a while. Yeah, it's gone the complete opposite direction. All of the people seething about me at the moment are just like,
Pippa's a good girl. She's one of us now. She's completely changed as a human being and now says all the things we want her to say.
And it's like, that's weird and also untrue. I'm so sick of this crap. At least in the time you've been watching, she never said anything particularly racist, endorsed great replacement theory, etc. You'd think these dumbasses would shut up already? You'd think! You'd think! Sounds like Twitter weirdos want to try and drive a wedge between you and Pippa. It's not just Twitter weirdos. There's a lot of people who try doing that. A lot of people. And it's very, very annoying. And they do seem to just like drama and spite. It's annoying. It's annoying. Asmongold reacts to Twitch now implementing gambling ads on all streams.
So right now, if you are streaming on Twitch and you're running ads, you are supporting gambling. Period. You're supporting gambling. There is no, I don't want to hear anybody ever virtue signal about gambling again. It's over. Gambling has won. Nobody knows how to do math. That's how it is. No more high roads. Yep, no more high roads. Promoting gambling, not just supporting. That's right. Yes, they're promoting it, making money off of it, and everything. Do we just assume Twitch is broke now? That may be the dumbest statement ever. No, it's not. It's not. Why is it? Why are we going to pretend like we're fighting gambling when we're losing? We're losing. Everybody loves gambling now. They can't stop gambling. They're addicted to fucking gambling. So Twitch is doing the gamble? Yeah, I guess so. Apart from you with no ads on third world countries, it's a huge problem. I guess so. And so Twitch is doing gambling ads. Well, there we go, guys. And now they're going to run gambling ads on people's streams. So I never want to hear anybody streaming on Twitch ever again talking about how bad gambling is, complaining about gambling, saying, oh, rain bed or steak are bad. It's over. It's done. Gambling is here, and it's here to stay.
And he's right about this. And what I find really amusing is, I don't know if they still make them, because I haven't seen any tweets about it, but there used to be tweets that would go around every so often from like smaller creators talking about how, you know, oh, it's annoying when so many people complain about ads on Twitch, because as a smaller creator, like, we need all of this money that we can get, and ads are like a big boost to the income, and it's demoralizing when people complain about ads. And if you've been in my audience for a long time, you've known that even when I was making jack fucking shit in a month, I would try my best to play as little ads as humanly possible. And eventually we worked out that I can play 3 minutes of ads at the beginning of stream, turn off the pre-rolls for the first hour of stream with that, and then I could leak some more money occasionally if I remembered to play 3 minutes at the end when nothing was happening. But during my actual stream, I would not want to set ad breaks. And a lot of people in my chat would ask questions about, how come you don't have, you know, these long ad breaks every so often that I get in other channels? And it's like, well, dear viewer, because streamers have been lying to you about how they can't have less ads because Twitch puts them there. Streamers have an automated ad schedule that they can set. And one of my friends, because nobody watched his stream and he just did it for fun, so he was like, you know, being a haha funny guy, he was like, I put 9 minutes of ads like every 40 minutes or something like that. It was a ridiculous ad schedule, and it was so fucking obnoxious. And the fact that you could even set it to something like that was incredibly silly. But there was like every time I'd see like smaller streamers complaining about people complaining about ads, it's like, Yeah, more ad revenue would be great, but as a content creator, I feel some sort of a responsibility for not making my audience hate themselves. Like, I don't want the viewing experience of my stream to be garbage, because if it is, then less people will watch. And if you're trying to grow, especially as a small creator, why would you want more ads? Why would you want the penny dollars that come from that over building like a long-term community? That doesn't make sense. FBI has stopped a planned terrorist bombing in Los Angeles on New Year's Eve. 4 suspects from a pro-Palestine extremist group are in custody. They were targeting 5 different locations. We are under attack. Well done by the FBI. While I agree, we've been under attack for a really long time. Anyone who has ever uttered the words, something about like, not paying attention to the culture war, I don't care about the culture war, anyone who's talking about the culture war is garbage. Anyone who's uttered any kind of sentence like that is complicit to getting us to where we are right now.
The FBI now reports that it's disrupted a planned New Year's Eve terror attack in Los Angeles. 4 suspects in custody, the FBI identifying them as members of a pro-Palestine extremist group. They're suspected of planning coordinated IED attacks targeting 5 different locations in Los Angeles. But based on the reporting now, that plot has been foiled. We will wait for more out of LA or out of Washington, D.C. The FBI.
That's good. It's good that it was foiled. I'm glad that instead of after an incident happens and the FBI says they were on our radar, we actually are taking care of things for once. So Benny Johnson said the extremist group Turtle Island Liberation Front was behind the New Year's Eve terrorist plot in Los Angeles. The affidavit shows photos of signs reading "Death to ICE" and "America is fascist," as well as a bomb-making setup. This was on track to be catastrophic. Great job by everyone at the FBI and the DOJ. How many decades of leftist terrorist bombing do we have to suffer and also potentially thwart before anything is actually done about these fucking communists? Like, it drives me crazy. We have an American catastrophe, fascism, America's fascist, whatever the fuck, death to ICE, death to America, long live Turtle Island and Palestine. Turtle Island Liberation Front is such a goofy fucking name. Like, how do you say that and take it seriously, man? Oh, hey, someone made a little fucking words on background color graphic. They don't want to kill you because they call you a fascist. They call you a fascist because they want to kill you. True and real. Still amazes me I was ahead of the curve on saying that kind of shit. I'm nuts. So obviously, I think everybody knows about Rob and Michele Reiner, the director and his wife that got murdered by their son recently. And so if you haven't heard, this is like the most up-to-date article I could find. Actually, this isn't an article. This is just like the CNN timeline of things. So the most recent update was 1 hour 52 minutes ago. Prosecutor will provide details on the Reiner homicide case. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman and Police Chief Jim McDonnell will hold a news conference this afternoon to detail on the case involving the killings of Rob Reiner and his wife Michele Singer Reiner. The news conference will be held at 4 p.m. Eastern. Authorities provided no specifics about the news conference, including whether Nick Reiner, the couple's son, being held without bail on suspicion of murder, has been charged. Nick Reiner's attorney said he has not been medically cleared yet to be transported to the courthouse. I don't know why he'd need to be medically cleared. Really sad ending for Rob and his wife. Yeah, it's really sad, especially because it came from their son. Incredibly fucked up. I'm not going to pretend to care about anyone not being graceful on Twitter, because after electing Democrats that double, triple, quadruple down on wanting to kill conservatives, I just don't care. I just do not care if people are not being graceful, right? Like, I'm not gonna be an asshole because, like, I don't like death in general, and I feel really bad that he got killed by his son. But I don't care if other people are not showing grace, right? Like, literally have some priorities. There's a People article. Nick Reiner is now represented by a lawyer who defended Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and Karen Reed. Which is really weird! That's really fucking strange! Nick Reiner, accused of killing his parents Rob Reiner and Michele Singer Reiner, hired defense attorney Alan Jackson, who previously represented Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, and Karen Reed. Jackson confirmed to reporters Tuesday morning that he was representing Reiner, telling the press outside Los Angeles Superior Court that his client would not be making his first court appearance Tuesday because he hadn't been medically cleared. Reiner is accused of murder in connection with the Sunday, December 14th slayings of his parents, Rob, 78, and Michele, 70. The couple were found dead in their Brentwood, Los Angeles home that afternoon by their 28-year-old daughter, Romy. Hours later, police arrested Nick, 32, near the University of Southern California campus. He's facing murder charges in connection with his parents' death. They're in their 70s. Their daughter's 28. 70, 68, 58, 50. He had a daughter when he was 50. That's crazy. Wait, if he was 50 and his wife is 8 years younger, that means that his wife was 42 when she gave birth to the daughter. That's crazy. Reiner's being held without bail at a men's central jail in Los Angeles. Jackson, a partner at the firm Worksman, Jackson & Quinn, LLP, helped secure an acquittal for Karen Reed, who had been charged with murdering her police officer boyfriend in Massachusetts. Jackson also represented Kevin Spacey in his Massachusetts groping case, which was dismissed when the actor's accuser dropped their civil complaint. He was also on the team that defended Harvey Weinstein in his California criminal trial. Weinstein was convicted on rape charges and sentenced to 16 years in prison. Previously, Jackson successfully prosecuted record producer Phil Spector for murdering actress Lana Clarkson. He unsuccessfully ran for Los Angeles District Attorney in 2012. Nick has his longtime struggles with substance abuse. He had been to rehab 18 times and experienced prolonged homelessness when he and Rob made the semi-autobiographical 2015 film Being Charlie. Can I ask a question? If you're a parent and you have a kid that's struggling with homelessness, why would you not just have the kid live with you? Like, I guess, I mean, I don't know their family, right? So, like, if he was bringing in, like, drugs and needles and not trying to stay sober, I can understand kicking him out. But, like, the father made a film with him, so clearly there wasn't any kind of, like, bad blood, right? So, especially with the amount of money this father had, I feel like that's a little weird, maybe. Kirsche, he returned home and this happened, so maybe that wasn't a good idea after all. Yeah, but this was, the film was in 2015. Right? Like, I don't know. The son's struggles appeared to continue after the film, however, telling a podcast in 2018 that he had trashed his parents' guest house during a drug-fueled bender. See? I'd be like, you're gonna go to rehab or we're gonna kick you the fuck out. The night before Rob and Michele were found dead, the couple and Nick attended Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, where Rob and Nick got into a big and loud fight, multiple sources told People. Nick's behavior was freaking everyone out. That's really sad. That is incredibly sad that there was, like, kind of like a forewarning that something bad might happen. Rob, the son of legendary comedian Rob Reiner, became famous playing son-in-law Mike Meathead Stivic on the 1970s sitcom All in the Family. He later directed a string of hit movies in the 1980s and 1990s, including This Is Spinal Tap. I didn't know he did Spinal Tap. I know that mockumentary. Stand By Me, also a classic. The Princess Bride, and A Few Good Men. I didn't know The Princess Bride was in the 80s. I thought that was a 90s movie. Rob and Michele married after meeting while he was directing When Harry Met Sally in 1989. Besides Nick and Romy, they also shared an older son named Jake. Rob was also the adoptive father of Tracy Reiner, whose mother Penny Marshall was his first wife. Apparently during the filming of When Harry Met Sally, because Rob and his wife met during that movie, that's the reason that movie has a happy ending. Originally, it was planned to not have a happy ending. So, them meeting and dating and being with each other influenced a classic movie. Harry Met Sally was supposed to be a fling flick, but their fling ended up being true love, so we changed the story. Really cute thing. Yeah, it's super cute. Internet Zen Master, thank you. Damn shame Rob Reiner died. You love Princess Bride. You're with Foxu on this. You ain't gonna shed a lot of tears if people badmouth him on Twitter. Yeah. Phoenix DS, thank you. He would have been like a carbon copy of Hunter Biden at that point. Parents enabling their addicted child. Well, I don't want to say he was enabling the kid without knowing, like, you know, how they dealt with it, right? Emperor Creatine, thank you. Rob Reiner also pushed Russiagate conspiracy stuff with the help of 3 ex-CIA directors. That's right, directors, not just former agents. What the fuck? Dude's crazy. Internet Zen Master, thank you. All you can say is Nick Reiner must be loaded if he's able to afford someone like Alan Jackson, which makes the unaliving of Rob Reiner and his wife all the stranger. Yeah? I mean, I'm sure they're going to plead some sort of, like, insanity, drugs made me do it kind of thing. Singer Jubilant Sykes' son gets no bail in father's stabbing death. Singer Jubilant Sykes' son is being held without bail in a Southern California detention center after his arrest on suspicion of Sykes' fatal stabbing. Following a December 11th court appearance on a felony murder charge, 31-year-old Micah Curtis Sykes' bail amount changed from $4 million to no bail. He was arrested on December 9th, a day after the first responders found 71-year-old Jubilant Sykes with critical injuries consistent with a stabbing in a Santa Monica home and declared him dead at the scene. Who? He's an opera singer, chat! According to ABC7, Los Angeles County prosecutors requested the amendment to Micah Sykes' bail. Deputy District Attorney Cesar Rodriguez reportedly told Judge Teresa R. McGonigal that Sykes was not being appropriately medicated for a schizophrenia diagnosis, the news station reported. So this guy is also going to claim the insanity defense for murdering his father? That's fucked up. That's fucked up. You know opera singers, but not movies. Woman logic. Well, yeah, I know Iron Mouse, but I can't name Hollywood actors. The deputy district attorney told the judge that Sykes' mother, Cecilia, witnessed the alleged attack, and McGonigal issued a protective order that prevents him from contacting her. Meanwhile, Sykes' legal team requested to delay his arraignment until 2026. According to Los Angeles County Sheriff Department's inmate records, his next court appearance in downtown LA will be on February 11th. On December 13th, he was transferred from an LA County jail to the Peter J. Pitchess Detention Center, which is located on the county's outskirts in Castaic, California. Sykes did unlawfully and with malice aforethought murder his father with a deadly weapon, according to a felony complaint filed by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office on December 11th, which was obtained by USA Today on December 15th. In the commission and attempted commission of the above offense, Sykes personally used a deadly and dangerous weapon, to wit, knife, garden shears, barbell, said use not being an element of the above offense, the complaint states. Is this saying that he murdered his father with a knife, garden shears, and a barbell? Cause like, who the fuck has time to switch weapons? What the fuck was he doing? That is insane. A lawyer for Michael Sykes could not be reached at the time of publication. Jubilant Sykes was a classically trained baritone whose rendition of Leonard Bernstein's Mass was nominated for a Best Classical Album trophy at the 2010 Grammy Awards. His musical career led to performances at Carnegie Hall, the Kennedy Center, and Metropolitan Opera House and the Hollywood Bowl over the years. He was also a film and stage actor, making his debut in 2014's Freedom, starring Cuba Gooding Jr. Never heard of it. His theater career took him to venues such as the New York City Center, where he performed in productions for Bloomer Girl in 2001 and 1776 in 2016. I haven't heard of either of those either. That's insane. She's already buying the insanity plea. If he's insane, he should just get the death penalty immediately, man. He clearly cannot be allowed to be in society. So we've had two fathers, two famous fathers, murdered by their sons in the past week. And that's you know, if I was a famous person with a son, I'd be kind of scared. I'd be like, well, fuck, what's going on here? Saying one of the craziest parts of the Reiner killing is that LA no longer has a homicide division. Because of massive layoffs, it's been rolled into one division called robbery homicide. The bodies laid in the house for 5 hours because the cops claimed they needed a search warrant even after identifying the dead bodies. And they couldn't find the coroner. How do you lose a coroner? How do you not have like a different coroner who is available when like the other one takes vacation or some shit? What is this? Keep focusing on Candace, because if you actually look at what's happening, these cities have become third world shitholes. He's not wrong. Los Angeles couldn't find a coroner for one of the most famous people in LA. LA is the only major city in America without a homicide division after laying off 1,300 detectives.
3 clips. I'll show you the other 2 clips in a second. At this time, this is at 8:30 last night, the bodies are laying in there in the house for 5 hours. He will go on to say that he has no search warrant. He will also go on to say that he can't enter the house. He will also go on to say that they can't find the county coroner, a guy who should be available 24/7. We covered the John Belushi situation at Chateau Marmont in one of the earlier episodes. The county coroner was there within 20 minutes, as per crimes in LA. This is now, you know, I want to say 5 hours, no search warrant, completely insane. Why you need a search warrant in an active
Also
crime
insane.
Investigation is, of course, preposterous. But there's more to this. And
I don't
the situation
remember.
is breaking news that nobody caught. And
I don't remember if when that other famous guy and his wife were found dead, and his wife had some sort of like disease, so she was the one who died first. I don't remember if when police got to their house, they also had some like weird search warrant excuse or not, because that was a couple of months ago. My memory doesn't go back that far, if you guys remember what I'm talking about. You need it because OJ scared them into following procedure all the time. Yeah, Gene Hackman and his wife, when they were found dead, I don't remember if the police had some sort of like, oh, we can't enter without a warrant excuse, or if they just went in like normal. That's what defunding the police does to you. Side note, funding doesn't necessarily give you a quality department. NYPD is the most well-funded in the whole country, and it's full of incompetent retards. Yep, defunding, really silly. Overfunding, not going to fix any issues. You have to out the people who are corrupt. Honestly, shocked we haven't reached the point where the rich and famous actually have their own armed, competent police and separate justice system, and the plebs get the social workers. I mean, that's kind of starting to happen. Like when, I think it was Minneapolis, when they defunded their police, all of the, like, city council got their own armed security. And I was like, wow, who could have seen that coming? If you recall correctly, there weren't any warrant issues with Hackman, so this makes even less sense then.
One of the breaking news things that came out of this press conference, which he admits later at the end of the press conference, was that there was no longer any homicide division in the city of Los Angeles. LA is now the only big city in America that does not have a homicide division. They laid off over 1,300 cops, and the detectives that were left in homicide got rolled into a long-standing division in Los Angeles Police Department called robbery homicide. So there's some confusion about that. Robbery homicide is a homicide that occurs during a robbery. Separate division of LAPD. LAPD, like every other big city police force, up until November 1st of this year, unannounced, not on the website, no press conference, no press release, quietly, according to out of the mayor's office, quietly did away with LAPD homicide. So this guy has shown up from robbery homicide. Now, there is no robbery here. And he's saying
it was in New Mexico, not LA. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was LA. Homicide. Thank you.
And to me, as a reporter in LA, this was a huge freaking story. Nobody's picking up on this. This is because of defunding the police. They did away with 1,300 detectives and the gang squad and the entire division. Whoever survived got rolled into robbery homicide. He explains this later on. This press conference goes off the rails. There's a lot of press, and he can't handle it and begins to talk down to the reporters who are merely asking normal questions about why he's not in the house. Are there any suspects? He won't even acknowledge that there were murders involved here.
Which is weird. Which is a weird thing to do. Escape from LA. They need to. People who are going to not vote the way that they voted in LA should leave. But if you're going to vote the same way, stay there. Stay in your hellhole instead of creating more of it. Here's a little press conference video.
Evidence gathered led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who are affected by this tragedy.
Well, that's good. Formal arrest now. People underestimate how much of a bedrock emergency services is to society. But when the emergency services, like the police, stop serving the people and they only serve the corrupt politicians and the corrupt judicial system, they become a part of the problem. And you need to remove the people who are corrupt rather than focusing on specifically the funding. Andy Ngo reported here. I can exclusively report that the fifth unnamed arrest suspect in the Turtle Island Liberation Front New Year's Eve mass bombing terror plot, what a mouthful, is Trantifa militant Micah James Legnon, center photo in blue. Legnon is on a federal hold in Lafayette, Louisiana. He's a trans activist and identifies as female. His social media is filled with posts calling for the murder of people he labels as fascists. Authorities say the Turtle Island Liberation Front, a far-left communist decolonization terror group, planned to blow up ICE agents on locations with homemade bombs. Audrey Eileen Carroll, 30, 30, by the way, 30. Zachary A. Aaron Page, trans, 32. Tina Lai, 41, and Dante Garfield, 24, are the other comrades listed in Los Angeles after they were caught allegedly traveling to the desert to test their explosives. Legnon is an ex-Marine and a former cop. Did this person get cat ears and a cowbell tattooed as a necklace on their neck? Or is that just like a really shitty moth? It looks like there's cat ears and a cowbell and then like some sort of scarab beetle. Death head moth. Looks like the Silence of the Lambs moth.
So powerful. So beautiful.
That'd be really weird if you're going to claim a trans identity and then get the Silence of the fucking Lambs moth tattooed on your neck. But I'm sure we'll find out some more crazy information on these freakish people at some point. A violent repeat offender in North Carolina who was previously convicted of murder, but only served 5 years in prison, has been arrested again for hijacking an ambulance from 2 EMS who were trying to save his life, ramming the ambulance into an elderly woman's car, and then shooting her to death. He's being held in prison without bond because of Irina's law.
36-year-old Cheyenne Woods is the person detectives say was being taken to a hospital by ambulance when he allegedly pulled a gun on EMS workers, stealing that ambulance, then running while he was on the run. He allegedly crashed into another vehicle driven by a woman identified as 74-year-old Marie Locklear. Woods reportedly shot Locklear, who later died at a hospital. He's now facing that laundry list of charges, including first-degree murder and felony assault on EMS workers. He remains in jail. 36-year-old.
So this guy should never have been back out on the street. Like, I mean, you probably could have assumed that just because he has a whole bunch of horrendous face and neck tattoos. Never get tattoos on your face. That's disgusting. He never should have been back out on the street, and this woman would still be alive if our justice system actually did what it was supposed to do, instead of what it has been retrained into doing. I started reading it, and you were like, oh, this is bad, and then it just kept getting worse. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these. It just kept getting worse as Irina's law actually keeps these criminals behind bars. I don't think they should be behind bars, though. They released this video. Interesting thing about the Brown shooter. Watch when he turns and puts his arms behind his back while walking. That's an odd posture for an American younger than a boomer. It's a very European or Middle Eastern thing to do. And they've got a point. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do this posture unless they're like a very old person.
The individual walking. It's on the sidewalk of Benevolent.
Very weird posture. Very weird posture. And speaking of weird posture, they released another video. I saw this video and I just was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Everyone involved should be fired. They were like, oh, here's another video of the person of interest. If you have any information about this individual, please contact the police department. And look at the state of this video that they fucking released. Look at the absolute state of this fucking video. If you have any information, chat, on this man that's in like 20p and 4 pixels high, you should say something. Wow, I can almost make out a blur. Imagine. I cannot believe they put this video out in a serious manner. Like, holy fuck. Garugamesh, thank you. He was on our radar type shit. Releases Bigfoot footage. It's the Shadow Man. He used to live in your closet. Maybe that chick who stabbed that friend almost to death isn't actually crazy. We found the Slenderman. Brown University presser goes off the rails. Rhode Island Governor McKee defends the school. Trump is wrong. Reporter calls out their bullshit, but Brown has facial recognition cameras. Smiley says, we're all tired. Everyone here should be fired and or recalled and never voted into a position again.
President Donald Trump has said that Brown University is to blame for this shooting, saying it's the school's problem. Is that a fair criticism, or do you disagree with what the president said?
I don't think it's fair criticism.
Colonel, can you expand on that?
Why not? Because Brown University is not collaborating with you guys.
What?
You're lying to the press over here. They have facial recognition. We know that. because they follow the student, they follow everybody in the neighborhood. Facial recognition. They need to release that data. So everybody know who the guy is in video. We got the video Saturday. Why you guys release the video
Is that XQC? I think that's Mexican XQC.
Listen, Colonel, I have just John, please, just for a second. A couple things. First of all, Brown University
XQC,
and Brown
true.
Public Safety, Brown Police Department
Missed opportunity
has been a
on
close
my end, bro.
collaborator throughout this process.
That's not true.
I do not accept that criticism.
Oh, come on. We know that.
Secondly, everyone you see behind us.
I can literally imagine both the facial expression and the hand motion that MexQC just did when he said, "Oh, come on." I can literally envision what he looked like for that. Oh, that was good.
Accept that criticism.
Oh, come on. We know that.
Secondly, everyone you see behind us, we've all been working for now 49 hours. We're tired.
Nobody gives a fuck if you're tired. You're also incompetent. You fucking holy shit. If this guy was a cartoon character, he'd be in some like Fairly Odd Parents spin-off as a gay side character. We live in a clown show, the mockery of our country our fathers died for. Deranged immigrants get released from jail the next day. It's actually insane. If Weak Men Create Hard Times was a video.
For now 49 hours. We're tired. We've all been working for now 49 hours. We're tired.
True. That is the definition of weak men creating hard times.
We've all been working for...
If you're so tired, go home to your husband. Oh, is he actually gay? That's funny. I had no idea if he was actually gay or not.
President Donald Trump has said...
Fucking hilarious! 5% of students at Brown identify with the GOP, and we find out from a church in Alabama that one who was targeted in the shooting was the VP for the Young Republicans Club. Are you sure there's no specific threats to your community? Or are you ordered to exclude conservatives? And there's a Fox News article from November 14th, 2025, saying most Brown University conservatives fear expressing beliefs on campus, according to a school poll. Only 6.1% of students identify as conservative on the 11,000 student Ivy League campus. Interesting. And this was a response to the Providence police releasing the person of interest that they had, which the person of interest shit has been very weird. Once again, let me go to my Twitter timeline because I posted something about this. So I found another tweet from this nerdy addict person that had a Facebook post from someone named Kathy Erickson. And after the Providence police said that they were releasing Benjamin Erickson, I posted this. Our hearts go out to the victims of the shooting in Rhode Island over the weekend. We certainly didn't expect the suspect to share a name with our son. Makes me pause and say a prayer for his parents who must be devastated. Ben actually got a call from the Wall Street Journal a few minutes ago. He's living here with us in St. Louis, but was living in Milwaukee, so has a Wisconsin phone number. Crazy. So at this point in time, it was just like, okay, were there two Benjamin Ericksons and then the wrong picture was circulated, putting this innocent Benjamin Erickson in like harm's way, and us not knowing what the actual Benjamin Erickson looked like. And somebody posted this. They were like, I thought this was the guy, this person, but my response, and it got kind of muddled because Elon didn't embed my tweet, but this is the guy that they had detained. This was from like the original help us find this person of interest pictures. And they did post a couple more pictures of this guy where you could better see his face. And I don't know if this is the same guy as the one putting his hands behind his back or not, but they did post videos and images of this guy's face. So there are better pictures of this guy that are out there. I just didn't have them on hand. And so I was like, this being that guy in the video I posted is the one that they detained. I know they released better photos where you can see his face, but I don't have the tweets on hand, and he doesn't look like the one that this guy posted here. Does it? Like the face from the one in the video and this guy, they look like completely different people. And so I was like, it's either these two dudes have the same name, like the mother said in this Facebook post, and they arrested the wrong one, realized it was the wrong one, let him go because he was the wrong one. And it's either that or like the name is also completely wrong and neither of these people are the right guy. All right. It's like, there's just so much incompetence just abound everywhere right now in this case. So this guy said, Providence, Rhode Island police have released a new photo of the person of interest in the Brown University mass shooting. Don't know if this is the enhanced pick that officials were talking about, but we'll see in the press conference that will occur at 5 p.m. I mean, I know we kind of joined that thing late, but I didn't see them show any fucking pictures, and I wasn't gonna hang around for them doing another fucking circle jerk on,
we're doing such a good job, yay!
And then this is weird, but unconfirmed, so this isn't released by police. This is just this open source intel guy. So the open source intel guy said all references to Mustafa Karbouch have been removed from Brown University's website. Archive profiles describe Mustafa as a queer Palestinian activist and a third-generation Palestinian refugee before they were taken down. Meet our student assistants, Mustafa Karbouch, 27. Mustafa Karbouch, 27, is a first-year student considering concentrating in international and public affairs and anthropology with a focus on the Middle East. They're a third-generation Palestinian refugee born and raised in Lebanon. Attaining a scholarship to attend UW Maastricht, they have led and continue to help with community building initiatives and social change roles. Social change roles? What a weird fucking title. They are fond of bringing their lived experiences into academic spaces and participating in engaged scholarship. Highly moved by questions of indigeneity, justice, and inclusion, and particularly interested in the intersection of queer studies with Palestinian studies. What a fucking retard. Mustafa is also currently the cultural programming coordinator for the Global Brown Center and on the e-board of the Arab Society. If he's born and raised in Lebanon, he's Lebanese, not Palestinian though. And this is the page that they have supposedly deleted, and that's the guy that they've deleted the pages for. It's going to take a second to scroll over because my browser's having a heart attack. I wonder why they would do that. It seems like a really weird time to just start scrubbing pages of a specific person at the university. We got Jordan Schachtel. I don't know who this guy is, publisher of the dossier. Brown University is mass deleting a series of celebratory articles on its website relating to Mustafa Karbouch, a foreign-born Palestinian student, and its Middle East Studies department. Mustafa participated in the Hamas encampments at Brown and wrote an article declaring the need for a rebellion against the US and Israel. Someone has also deleted his X account. Okay, that's really weird. That's really strange. Mustafa is clearly a bound ideological actor, but there are no reports thus far that he has been implicated in the incident at Brown, though the consequential timing is worth keeping an eye on. That is very fucking weird. Took the screenshot of Mustafa's account, which has since disappeared. He had 321 accounts he was following, 70 followers. I don't know why they delete the account all of a sudden. Of course, it could be entirely unrelated, and Brown could be panic deleting articles worried about loss of funding, showing that many of its students are ideological lunatics who seek bad outcomes for the United States. But the timing is surely interesting. Well, if he came here as an immigrant and he's writing papers about how the US needs a rebellion, right? Like, if he's not a natural-born American citizen, he can be deported for that under the Trump administration. So if he has nothing to do with the shooting, there's already enough to at least get him the fuck out of the country if he's an immigrant. The good news is that the internet is forever, unless you're Taylor Lorenz and your uncle runs the Internet Archive. This guy's kind of based. He remembers things. Most of this stuff has already been logged. That's good. Mustafa labels the US as Turtle Island, which is a term used by Marxist decolonization activists. I have never heard of the US being called Turtle Island. And that's very weird that we have this guy in the wake of a shooting talking about the US being Turtle Island when we just had that terror group, the far left terror group, like bombing plot foiled, and they were like the Turtle Island whatever the fucks as well. That's interesting. That's an interesting coinky-dink.
Right there! Coincidence? I think not!
The FBI recently foiled a Palestinian terror attack planned for New Year's Eve in California. The group called themselves the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Thank you! Thank you, Mr. Jordan Schnitzel, for telling me the name again, because I forgot. This is PalestineStudies.org, and it says, in the cold early days of February 24 in Providence, Rhode Island, I sat on the ground nestled among hundreds of my peers in a room at Brown University's campus center. Leaning on each other, we filled the little space between us with our hands rocking back and forth in unison, striking our bodies and creating the loud percussion accompanying our chants. Those of us who were standing tapped the ground, and the whole room was vibrating with music, emotion, and tactility. We had just announced the end of an 8-day hunger strike by 19 of my fellow brave student comrades. But there was something more in the air. As the genocide in Gaza continued to unfold, we held our grief in from collective solidarity and yelled out from the deepest parts of ourselves for a glimmer of hope. From Turtle Island to Palestine, we called upon the strength of our ancestor spirit to fuel the smud, Arabic for steadfastness, of our resilient kin in Gaza. With the bittersweet end of the hunger strike as the third major action after 2 student sit-ins were met with arrest by the university, we left the campus center with the painful knowledge of our Palestinian kin's inability to escape the forced Israeli blockade. This realization, though sobering, fueled our belief that this movement has only witnessed its beginning. We affirmed our commitment to continue on, unyielding until Palestine attains its freedom. As the tune of the ancestor song grew louder and louder every time another person joined the crowd, an uneasy feeling fluttered in my chest. Is this hope? In the weeks after, I struggled with what to feel and think of the idea of hope. What a weird thing to write. What a weird thing to write. The alarming piece of info was brought to this guy's attention an hour ago. The FBI has positively identified a 9mm firearm was used in the shooting at Brown University. Last year, Mustafa K gave a 5-star review to a Breek Arms 9mm muzzle brake on Wing Tactical, an online firearms retailer. The same reviewer is a verified buyer of the muzzle brake. That's very interesting, but you know what's also interesting? The FBI positively identified a 9mm firearm was used in the shooting. An eyewitness said it was the longest rifle he's ever seen in his life. What long rifles would use 9mm ammo? Because, like, the Vector uses 9mm, but the Vector's not very long, even if you put, like, a silencer on it. Why would he feel the need to delete a review? Everything about this guy is just getting deleted from the internet right now. He's not been announced as implicated in anything by the police. So people at Brown are deleting his information, and someone got access to his Twitter account to delete that as well, somehow. And this is some account posting, Mustafa Karbush, Brown University suspect, had subtle and alarming terrorism language in his written pieces. Unyielding until freedom, the fuck? Providence, Rhode Island PD, y'all better find this guy. And I'm guessing this is some sort of AI rundown of stuff. This is something written by Mustafa Karbush. And then, according to AI, so massive grain of salt, it says strong in-group framing plus moral absolutism, our resilient kin in Gaza, collective solidarity from Turtle Island to Palestine. This reads as deep identification with a cause and community, spiritual and ancestral justification language, called upon the strength of our ancestor spirits, not violent, but it can read like sanctifying a struggle, steadfastness and endurance framing, fuel the samud, commonly used in Palestinian civil resistance discourse. After the fact, someone might spin it as a commitment to the struggle. Unyielding until freedom phrasing, continue on, unyielding until Palestine attains its freedom. That's the kind of line that, if you already believe the person is dangerous, gets reread as they won't stop. Interesting. And then he posts, was Mustafa Karbush fired today from Brown University? Any other answers for why the university is distancing themselves from him? Everyone is still on this list except for him. And this is a list of staff at the Center for Middle Eastern Studies at Brown University. Mustafa Karbush apparently has been removed. Let's open the link here. And there's Elias Mahana, Barbara Oberkotler, Alex Winder, Inari Barrett, Salma Eldib, Tyler Fishman, Heshma Hussein, Sabine Jimenez Williams, Vera Kuntz, Dora Omrai, and Protoy Roy. What a name. So yeah, they removed our fucking Mustafa Karbush guy. Mustafa Karbush's now deleted 2024 Fuck Off Grok manifesto published in the Institute for Palestinian Studies has been recovered by internet sleuths. So an hour ago he reported that Brown University was scrubbing all of the pages for this fucking guy. And this is at the Institute for Palestine Studies special series, I Hear the Voice of My Ancestors Calling from the Camps to the Campus. August 13th, 2024, by Mustafa Karbush, blog series Genocide in Gaza, student essays, Brown University Encampment 2024. I hear the voice of my ancestors calling. I hear the voice of my ancestors call. I hear the voice of my ancestors calling. I hear the voice of my ancestors call. Singing, wake up, child, wake up, listen, 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 listen. Singing, wake up, child, wake up, listen, 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 listen. Author's note, the lyrics come from Ancestor Song, popularized by the Student Movement for Palestine at Brown University. Versions vary, adopted from the original Grandmother song by Sandy Vaughan. I feel like if my ancestors were like Na'vi, I would not want to listen to them. But thankfully they are not, and I do listen to them, and that is why I add garlic to my dishes until they tell me to stop. And this is just a blog about the hunger strike, I guess. As long as fuck. Despite this vexed relationship with the notion of hope is what we were reading at the bottom of the other page, but it continues, how dare I feel a sense of hope stemming from the hunger strike on a safe US campus while my people continue to be forcefully starved and slaughtered in the thousands. My parents and grandparents' consistent experiences of betrayal by their leaders and the settler colonial regime taught them better than to frivolously hope to take center stage. I believe the intergenerational cynicism I have inherited taught me to reject hope, to preserve my own sanity, and avoid disappointment as I navigate survival when denied existence. He sounds like me talking about relationships. How do I then grapple with a sense of intergenerational existential hopelessness passed on like a wretched inheritance? Well, tens of students from all walks of life... Sorry, I just think it's really funny that he's out here writing a manifesto and he says, well, tens of students! Tens of students from all walks of life, some of whom I've never met, put their academic lives, careers, and bodies at risk. How do I reject hope when my student comrades who are not Palestinian give their time, effort, and resources generously to this collective cause? How dare I not feel hope when they dare to scream in the hundreds, demanding the university divest its endowment from companies associated with the settler colony's violence? When they dare to imagine a better, more caring, more just, and more equitable world that safeguards Palestinian life? How do I reject hope when my peers practice sustainable world-building practices from inside the campus movement that holds powerful implications for our communities, from the local to the global? This guy sounds fucking insane. He sounds actually fucking crazy. These thoughts, among others, continued to linger within me, the Brown Gaza Solidarity Encampment, which began at the end of April 2024, represents one of the formative moments in this trajectory of feeling and thinking hope in a time of genocide. There, the palpable theories from our Palestine and comparative ethnic studies classroom converged with the material action 100 or so of my comrades committed to and helped organize. After the accumulation of several dispersed actions for Palestine on Brown's campus this school year, which built on a legacy of decades of student activism, the Brown Student Encampment was but one site of a student rebellion of historic, national, and international proportions. Well, clearly it didn't mean that fucking much, because I didn't even remember it happened, and I'm like the news fox. Well, our action was largely indebted to Columbia University students spearheading of a steadfast encampment. Our power only grew as the number of encampments expanded across the country and beyond, and continues to grow as I write this. Retrospectively, every now and then, I have to look at the images and videos from the week of the encampment to remind myself that it was real. This sentiment is met with wonder when shared with many of my non-Palestinian friends who are committed to fighting for Palestinian liberation. How can I even begin to explain to them the tearful disbelief of my parents, who for so long had urged me not to wear my keffiyeh in public for fear of persecution? How do I convey the transformative power of the student movement has given to us Palestinians, watching on and participating when 100 or more students, mostly non-Palestinian, locked hand in hand, dancing the traditional Palestinian dabki on the main green while popular Palestinian music played on big speakers? Solidarity in those moments did not only take on the form of support, but it was also immersed in a courageous and accountable ethos of sharing struggle and pain. I hate communists so much. Our resolute solidarity ultimately fueled durable radical hope. For a full week, I spent time on the main green. I constantly reflected on this microcosm of a world we were building together, a world where we recalled our ancestors daily to guide us, where we took care of the land which hosted us, and where belonging was defined by a shared caringness, the truth to one another, rather than state citizenship. We continuously rooted in every decision we collectively took in the Palestinian revolutionary tradition, which rejects colonialism, carcerality, and any other agents of imperialism and oppression. My eyes are glazing over reading this commie gobbledygook from this absolutely deranged individual. And this is not to say it was a perfect world, for we made many mistakes to which we held and still must hold ourselves accountable. The encampment became an experiment in an attempt to best carve spaces for collective healing, reconciliation, and moving forward through in the aftermath of the action. This is to say, I have never learned and reflected on solidarity as revolutionary world-making, as Robin Kelly put it. Throughout all of my first year as an undergraduate at this institution, as much as I have done so through the praxis of being at, engaging with, and co-shaping the People's Plaza on the main green. Revolutionary world-making sounds like world-building, which kind of lends more to their LARP. Are these the same Palestinian ancestors who deforested the Judea region for tax purposes? As I unconsciously catch myself humming the tune of the ancestors' song, I realize that, indeed, the voice of my ancestors never leaves me these days. I often find myself asking, what would my ancestors think of this? Are the ancestors just his unmedicated schizophrenia? Because that's kind of what this is sounding like at this point.
Your meds, schizo.
While I've always kept a habit of preserving my late grandfather's spirit in my consciousness, I cannot help but recall his voice more loudly than ever since the encampment. Time and time again, I think of his trek from Akka in Palestine to Saida in Lebanon during the 1948 Nakba. All of those sound like pastries. I try to imagine what thoughts and emotions he might have experienced as he was expelled from the only home he had ever known. I regret never asking him for more details as a child before he passed. A lot about him and the time remains cloudy, a gap in my and our collective histories as Palestinians. But the student encampment at Brown, along with the greater transformations in Palestinian studies and Palestine solidarity movements today, teach me to fill in these holes in our hearts and histories with that which is needed to build a different world. A queer feminist approach to world making, rooted in decolonial radical love, is what I turn to here. I feel like if he went over to Palestine and talked to like any of the Hamas fighters about a queer feminist approach to world making rooted in decolonial radical love, they would just shoot him. Like, they wouldn't even want to take the time to bring him up to a building roof and drop him. They would just shoot him. Like, what? What is this?
Going. Nothing outlasts me.
Oh! Sarah Ilmood powerfully explains, to practice feminism in the midst of bearing witness to genocide is to embrace love as a radical consciousness, as a radical decolonial politic of fighting for life. To practice feminism in this moment is to hold each other through the vast darkness of our grief, to walk with each other hand in hand, to bear witness to landscapes of death, and to tell the truth. What about the feminist angle of all of the wives left behind in the countries as men flood into European and American and Canadian and Australian borders? What about the wives left behind who say these men are cowards, these men have not gone for jihad, they have left the jihad, they have left the homeland to falter, they have abandoned their godly duty? What about that kind of feminism? What about those women speaking up about their perspective? Is anyone else fatigued as fuck? Because you're so tired. I'm more tired than that fucking gay-ass police dude. Brown University staff and need their company and private communications subpoenaed, and this Mustafa guy needs to be found and brought in for questioning. Something smells of conspiracy. That's crazy, man. Marxist theory fits mass shooter manifestos surprisingly well. It does. At moments during organizing where I felt my grief transform to anger, a friend reminded me once of their favorite Palestinian truth. We keep fighting not because of hate for those who have wronged us, but because of our love for a life denied and our love for one another. Chat, I don't know much about the Sandbox War, but one of the things that I did consume, and please let me know if I got propagandized and this was incorrect, but many years ago, I remember there being a big kerfuffle because Israel was getting consistently attacked and they felt that they could not attack back because Hamas was using children as shields. And they were exploiting the fact that the Israelis did not want to just murder children as a shield to commit attacks from behind said children. And I remember collectively, everyone in the world was like, that's bad! You shouldn't do that! But then they all started attacking Israel for eventually getting, like, some children killed at one point. Brown University President Christina Paxton said she's unaware of any web pages being removed from the university's website. We've seen multiple instances of it happening, though. She can't just lie her way out of this one.
I believe some web pages for students or faculty have been taken down. Is that a response to any external threats to anyone in the community?
We have been working very closely with law enforcement to provide them with all of the internal to Brown information that they need to do this investigation. It's their investigation. They're the professionals. So we're providing information. We're not in the job of reviewing it for them. I know nothing about Webpages being taken down as part of this. It's the first I've heard of it.
She's either lying or literally has no idea what's going on, and I don't know which one would be worse at this point, honestly. And here's a little video from Eric Doherty. Speculation is swirling after Brown University allegedly scrubs Free Palestine activist Mustafa Carbush from their webpage. Other people's profiles are listed normally on Brown's Center for Middle Eastern Studies page. Carbush page not found still shows up on Google search results too. What's going on here?
We just don't know.
How can I not hold on to hope when my people in Gaza exemplify radical love of land and life every day? How can I not maintain hope when my student comrades sustain themselves in their movement with radical love for the land and life of which people in Gaza remind us daily? That's really interesting that they reframe the desire to rid the world of Jews as love of land and life. It kind of makes sense when you think about all the people who also want to like eradicate whiteness. You know, they just have a love of the land and life, and if only they could remove evil whitey, everything would be wonderful. Our refusal to be complacent in the heart of the empire is the bare minimum of love and care we can show our people in Gaza, who constantly refuse to be silenced and erased from history. I'm writing this piece while watching videos of the invasion of Rafah, what was a day ago the last site of refuge in the Gaza Strip. What is it to find hope amid tremendous grief? In my first 9 months at Brown University alone, I watched 61 of my comrades arrested for peacefully protesting the university's investments in apartheid and illegal occupation. You know, it's really funny. Every time I read the word apartheid now, all I can think about are the videos of black people in South Africa saying that life was better for them under apartheid rule than it is now under the ANC. And I just kind of laugh internally a little bit. Because, like, what the fuck is happening, dude? I helped care for another 19 students who went on a hunger strike for 8 days. They starved their bodies in order to achieve the same demands. I helped operate an encampment where 100 or more students slept in freezing temperatures in tents. In between, we held tens, if not hundreds of rallies, protests, art builds, teach-ins, and film screenings. You know what's really interesting? They're able to do these hunger strike things because they do them in nations where everyone would feel bad if people starved themselves to death. But if they went to one of these nations that don't really pay attention to any kind of human rights and tried to do a hunger strike, well, they'd probably end up eating something pretty quickly because they would just die. Nobody would care. The result of this was not only a university administration concession that pushed our student movement for Palestine a few steps forward on a much longer path to come at both the campus level and the national level. It was also the reimagination of the question of Palestine for hundreds of students and future leaders as something much larger than a geopolitical question. Palestine is becoming, in the minds of many, a question of how we want to fundamentally rearrange our world. Palestine is becoming a question of how we want to fundamentally rearrange our world. What? I can't think of anything from Palestine that I would want to have as, like, governing in my country. What did they mean by this? Our chants have begged many to channel their disillusionment with the current world order into action. What is the kind of world our ancestors' voices call us to imagine and therefore create? Isn't that regressive if you reach into the past and ask your ancestors how modern society should be run? Like, there's something to be said for keeping hold of, like, traditions and shit. But, like, there's also progression. Why would you ask someone, like, from 1906 how we should run our world in 2025? Like, that wouldn't make any sense, right? And, like, if you're saying ancestors, I'm imagining it goes back way farther than that. When I think ancestors, I think, like, I don't know, the 1300s, 1200s kind of era, right? Like, way back. You'd be interested to know what the founding fathers would think we should do. I think it could be interesting in some cases, but I don't think a lot would fit in the modern era. I could see how some people would be like, what the fuck have you done to our country in certain places? How can we build a world where our radical love and care for the land and each other is not rendered impossible or merely hope, but realized as a cornerstone of our shared humanity? I feel like they've said our radical love and care for the land, like, at least 8 times in this short paper. And then it has the little about section for Mustafa Karbouche. I completely forgot that this was supposed to be written by a man. The, like, emotional manipulation and begging in here just immediately made me turn to thinking about a woman being the writer. Just completely forgot that this was a dude.